I have had several opportunities recently, actually, to be a guest on various podcasts. And they all ask, so how did you get into coaching? And my answer is, well, my entire life was what not to do. So if healing was the only option from a very chaotic childhood, then if you can learn it, you can teach it. So the theme, though, that comes up over and over again is starting over. That people worry that they would have to get rid of everything that they know to be true if they did the healing work. And that is not true. But I will say that if you are in a space where you're ready to do the healing work, like it has come to your attention that you can't live like this anymore, whatever this looks like to you, that you can't live like this anymore because it's just pulling you down. It's making you feel like you're stuck, going in circles, doubting yourself all the time. That is a sign that it's time to do something different. And the healing work is learning to get out of familiar patterns. That's what it is. And it's interesting because the more I have grown in my own healing journey, the more I realize that it is learning to teach your body to tolerate a feeling that's better than it used to be. When you can learn to tolerate goodness, the goodness of who you're becoming, the goodness of your new expansion, the goodness of your even new life, when you can tolerate that, you will stop reverting back to what's comfortable. So I like to call it reinvention. It is also known as transformation, but I feel like transformation is a little bit of a misnomer because if you make a transformation, you never go back. That is not true, because we know that if you've lost weight at some point, you probably gained it back. Like a transformation, it feels like it's all or nothing. It's like all in and then what? Like we don't have anywhere to go to continue on with transformation. I feel like reinvention is more of a term that describes we did this for a while and it's really what we wanted to be doing, or we thought we did, or it's what we were supposed to be doing, or we thought we did. We were. And then you're like, but I want better. I want more. I want something different. I want to feel different. I want to feel better. And that new expansion can be kind of scary. It can be something that we didn't see coming. It could be getting blindsided by life. It could be a tragic, life-altering event. It could be something that we hold as shame or guilt, and that is the reason it's propelling us to change. So when those emotions get in your body and we're trying to change, we're trying to do something different, we're trying to improve our relationships with ourselves with God, with ourselves with other people, with ourselves with family members, if we're trying to do better, our body's like, but that's not normal, so we're going to go back to we're going to let people use us as doormats, or we're going to go back to feeling super bad or super regretful or super something about, something negative in the past. And then we're like, never mind, we'll just go to bed and get up and drink water and eat food and I don't know. And when we don't allow ourselves to expand and grow, it can lead to that dip that I talked about the other day, that dip in depression. And that dip is not coming to terms with the new reality. The new reality is we can't stay the same. The new reality is it's not going to ever be what it once was. And the new reality is it's not going to be what I thought it was going to be. The new reality is your opportunity to grow. But we have to get the nervous system on board. Our brain can logic through it, make sense of it all day long. We're like, I know this is what I need to do. I know this is how it could be. I know I could do better. But your body's like, It's like, no, that feels too good. When we're not used to feeling that good. We're not used to feeling all the joy, goodness, lovability, appreciation, rightness of us. We're not used to that. We're used to self-deprecating thoughts and feeling all the self-doubt and questioning why we did what we did, or backtracking. It's rear view mirror looking. And then our body's like, yeah, I need a snack. And it's cookie, cake, ice cream out of the freezer at 10 o'clock at night. Like, we will find those coping strategies because we're like, I don't know how to stay in a good feeling place more often than not. And so I find myself coping with the polarity, the push and pull, the resistance and the allowance of, I felt good for the first half of the day. And then I was like, oh, I don't know. And then, we found ourselves thinking about thoughts from the past that brought us that negative emotion that we're so familiar with. And that emotional chaos continues. And then we find ourselves in these cycles of right out of bed, I'm doing pretty good. And then it drops off at the end of the day. And so teaching our bodies, it's okay to feel better than you did. And and as we do that, we actually teach ourselves day by day that it feels better to do that a little more each day. It's kind of like when you were a baby and you learned to find your hands, and then when you rolled over and you were smiling, and then you were getting up on your hands and knees and testing out gravity and rocking back and forth, and then crawling forward, and then pulling yourself up on furniture and standing there and balancing, and then you took a step, fell down, and then you got back up, and you took a step and you fell down, you got back up, and then you took a couple of steps before you fell down, and pretty soon you were walking, and then you were running, and then you were potty training and learning bodily functions, and eating and sleeping and snuggling and all the things that you were doing, and until you learned how to tie your shoes and change your own clothes, and and be a contributing member of the family. Like, how long did that take you? 2, 3, 4 years, right? You're like, you didn't know there was a process. You didn't know. You weren't like, oh, am I on time? Did I do it right? How about now? But every day you were like, I think I want to do a little more today than I did yesterday. But you weren't doing that consciously. You were doing that because it was in you to do. Your body knew. Like, your spiritual infinite intelligence knew that there was a process, and you did it right on time. Right? Even if you were a bear crawler, even if you skipped crawling and went to walking, you still had a progression that went from tiny little baby blob, couldn't do anything, to aware human being looking around going, what else is there? What else can I do with myself? If I can tie my shoes, what else can I do? Right? If I can ride a bike, what else can I do? Like, that is how we're born, to reinvent ourselves. We're like, well, I don't want to crawl for the rest of my life, right? I don't want to just be happy that I learned how to tie my shoes and that was it. There's always more. And so that reinvention is happening all the time, but sometimes we're allowing it and sometimes we're not. And if we're not allowing it, we find ourselves in overwhelm. It's like having the foot on the gas pedal and foot on the brake at the same time, like the engine's super hot and it's revving and it wants to go, but we're not letting it go. We're like, nah, I can't. It's not the right time in my life. It would hurt other people. It's not when I say hurt other people, they might think it hurts them and you might think it hurts them, but when you get better, everything gets better. So that's what I'm talking about. And so your need to grow, it's just thumping on you. If you're not satisfied with where you are, and you're shucking and jiving and growing and like doing all these things, you're like, that's me, I'm loving it. If you're not doing that, then you probably have your foot on the brake still and your engine is like trying to go, but it's putting overwhelm into you because you're not going. And it's causing you a lot of stress because you're overthinking it. And it's causing you a lot of emotional frequency issues that you're not lined up with who you are. So instead you're yelling at people in traffic behind closed doors. They can't hear you, so could it really be doing damage? But you're doing stuff that's not like you. To eat and eat and eat until you can't take it anymore, that's not like you. That's not like you. That's just a coping strategy. It's trying to live in that space between, I gotta go, I gotta do, I gotta be, I gotta grow, but I don't know if I can I would have to give up a lot for that to happen. And giving up a lot is giving up the old energy that your body is familiar with. And I guarantee that old feeling is got something to do with fight or flight, freeze or fawn. It's in your nervous system. And so every time you grow a little bit, it feels so good, so good, so good. Your body's like, no. Monday, we're on it. We're hot. We're going. Tuesday, I can't remember. I don't know. That is your nervous system trying to keep the status quo. It's like, yeah, out there doing that thing, that's not familiar. It's not familiar not to be self-deprecating or full of self-love. That's not familiar. We gotta doubt, we gotta wonder, we don't know. That's what's familiar. And so teaching your body every day, I am okay right here. Like in this growth today, like we're not gonna go from crawling to riding a bike. That doesn't happen in a day. There's a progression of learning that it's safe to be a little bit better today, all day, than it was yesterday. And if Wednesday is better than Tuesday was, but Thursday wasn't as good as Wednesday, but Friday better than Thursday, like if you're in that pattern, you're on your way. Like that is what reinventing yourself looks like. The goal is not to get to a point and then revert back. It might happen in an hour, and it might happen in a day, and it might happen in a diet plan. The goal is constant expansion and learning to be safe and okay when it gets better than it once was. That's the goal.